Hi guys, happy November. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I freaking love the holidays so much. I think I've mentioned that before. But I just love the holidays, love everything, love the crafting, love the crisp air, just everything. So today I am going to be making a sign stencil for a piece of wood that I'm going to stain, and I'll show you what I'm going to be staining below. It is just this little cute little like wood tray thing I got at the Target dollar spot. It was $3, so not a dollar, but still super cute. And so I am going to be using a SVG I got from Auntie Tay, who you guys know I work with her a lot. This video isn't sponsored by her, but I found this SVG on her um, members page and I loved it. So if you don't know, you can become a member of hers and you can get access to like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of SVG. So the SVG I'm going to be using today is this one. So I got this one from her um, page. And so I thought this would be super cute because it's like a tray. So there's like food, but then also football. And I really don't care about football, but Joe loves football. So now that we know what we're going to be doing, we just need to upload our SVG. And so I'm going to come over here to upload. And you can see this is all kind of my archive of uploads. I'm going to come to upload image, click browse, and then you can just kind of find wherever your computer downloads stuff. So mine always ends up in the downloads. Save right here. So you're just going to click on that and click open, and you can see it's all ready for us to go. So we're just going to hit save, and we can see it's recently uploaded right here. So to get it onto our mat, all we need to do is click it. You can see it comes down right here. So this is what is going to be put on our mat, and we just click insert. So super duper easy. And now I'm just going to size this for how I want it. So how I'm going to orient my tray is like I'm going to have it hang vertically. So I think I'm going to make it about 4 inches or so by about 5. I think that should fit it nicely. And so what we want to do for our stencil is I'm going to do this all in one color, so it doesn't really matter that these are all like red, green, and orange, and this is like a brown over here. I actually want it all to just be one color because I'm going to slice it out of a square that we'll make, and that'll basically make a stencil. And it sounds really complicated when I explain it, but I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. So first, to make this all just one color and one layer, because you can see over here, we have multiple layers. We have our green layer, we have our football layer, pumpkin pie layer, and our turkey layer. So those would all be cut out on separate mats because the different colors are telling your machine, hey, this needs to be cut out on red, this needs to be green, this needs to be orange. But since we don't care about that, I'm going to select everything so it's all highlighted, and I'm just going to hit weld. So you could see this all welded together to be one piece of text, not multiple layers, and you could see that right over here. We just have the one layer, which is exactly what we want, because I'm going to come over here to shapes. I'm going to make a square. I'm going to unlock my square because I want to be able to kind of manipulate it however I want. I'm just going to place it right over my turkey pumpkin pie football. I'm going to right click I'm going to send it to the back so you can kind of see what we're doing here. So this now text is on top of our little square here. So all I need to do is, so now basically we're at the point where we want to cut all of this text out of this square to like make a stencil. So all we need to do is select everything, and you see our slice button over here is now lit up. So we click slice, and now we just pull away our layers and we're left with our stencil. So that is basically all there is to it. So a couple of things to be mindful of when you are making a stencil is if you have multiple layers of text that you're wanting to slice out like this, the slice button will only let you slice out one thing at a time. So now that's why we had to make this one piece of text. If I would have left the turkey, the football, the pumpkin pie in all of those separate layers, it would have only let me cut out one at a time, if that makes any sense. So hopefully it does. So now we can get rid of that layer and we're ready for our stencil to be cut out. So we'll come over here to make it, and you can see our stencil is ready to go, ready to be cut out. So we'll hit continue, and so it's gonna find our machine. So I'm gonna be using my Maker, but you can definitely use any other cutting machine that will cut vinyl. And for the blue Oramask stencil vinyl that I'm going to use, I like to cut it on vinyl and then plus more pressure, just because the stencil vinyl, it is a little bit thicker than regular vinyl, so I feel that with a little more pressure it cuts just a little bit better. So I'll switch you guys over to the camera so you can see how we're gonna make this. All right, so this is the tray that we are going to put our stencil on, and I got this at the Target dollar spot. It was $3, and I did not stain the back because it's going to be hung like this, so I didn't feel like I needed to stain the back of it. So if you need to know how to stain something relatively easily, go to the video that I'm linking right above, and that will show you how exactly I stained this. And I did let it dry for, I mean, it's been actually a few days since I did that. Actually, no, it's been like a week. Things got a little hectic, but I would definitely, anything you're staining, let it dry for at least 24 hours before putting any vinyl on it, because if it's even like remotely wet, the vinyl will have a really hard time sticking to it. So that is that. So this, I'm going to be using my blue mat, and again, I'm using this blue blue Oramask stencil vinyl or film that Auntie Tay sent to me. And this video is not sponsored by her, but she did send this over to me. And like I've said in a lot of my videos before, I originally really hated the stencil film, but once I learned how to use it, I really like it, and it's a lot more affordable to use than regular removable vinyl as like a stencil. And if it bubbles up while it's cutting, don't worry, it's still totally usable. That's why I was having such a hard time with it, because I thought, oh my god, it's bubbling, like I can't use it. So I wasted like a whole roll of it. But if it bubbles, do not worry. So our button is, or our little light is blinking up here, so we can load our mat. And now that our Cricut light is blinking, we can cut. so we can unload our mat, and I'm just gonna take this off of the mat and then we can start weeding it. Okay, so now that we have our vinyl cut, we can start to weed this. So I'm just going to be using this weeding tool that Specialty Materials sent to me. So far, so good. I like it, but I don't think it is as sharp as the Cricut one. But other than that, I pretty much like it. It's been working out pretty well. So we'll see how it works with this stencil film. So for your stencil, you're just going to remove the space that you're wanting to paint. So in this case, we're going to be removing the inside, the letters basically from the stencil. So we'll be left with the negative space from the letters, and that's what we'll be painting our sign with. All right, so we are done weeding this. So, all right, so now we want to get this stencil onto our sign. So we are going to be using this Expressions vinyl transfer tape. It's like a masking transfer tape. It's awesome. This was sent to me by Auntie Tay. She carries it on her website, so I'll link that below if you are interested, but you can also get it in other places as well. So for our transfer tape, we just want to tear off a piece, and you can use any other transfer tape that you want to. There's tons of other types. Any transfer tape you have, you're going to want to take the sticky side and place it directly onto your stencil. Just get rid of that. And we're just going to scrape this down really good so it adheres to our stencil. And so basically what the transfer tape does is it allows you to remove the vinyl from the carrier sheet and basically keep the integrity. You can't just peel off vinyl and stick it to something without the transfer tape because it'll completely like lose its shape. So what I like to do is, now that it's all adhered, is now we want to pull away the carrier sheet. So I'm just going to peel away this backing, and you can see it's just coming off so easily. So now we'll flip it back over, and now we're just going to stick this to our sign. So I just kind of eyeball it as best as I can to center it. And even though that this transfer tape isn't completely clear, it's opaque enough so you can still kind of see through it. So I like to get the middle down first and then just kind of work my way out. And the key with stencils is you want to make sure you get out as many air bubbles as possible and really get your stencil down smooth. So now once we have that down, we'll just peel away our transfer tape. And I like to kind of peel it away close to the board. So kind of like peel and like press as I'm peeling, just to make sure none of the stencil vinyl peels up. So I'm just peeling it away. All right, so we have our stencil on here. So now the fun part, we get to paint. And I'm not going to put down any Mod Podge. I like to just paint directly onto the sign. Now the trick with painting your stencil without getting bleeding is to do what I think makes the most sense, is do multiple light coats. If you start out by painting on a really heavy coat of paint, it's gonna just completely bleed through. But if you can be patient and do multiple light coats, one after the other, it's going to help you get those really sharp lines. Also, peel it while it's still relatively wet. So those are my two tips. I'm just going to be using these sponge brushes, nothing fancy, and I'm going to be using this Artist Loft acrylic paint. You can use chalk paint if you want. I like this acrylic paint because it's really bold and not like opaque or see-through. I really like this paint. So I'm just gonna put out a little bit. And like I said, I'm gonna start out with a very light coat of paint. And I like to just kind of brush it on like this, but if you prefer to dab it, that's fine. I like to brush it on personally. So you can see that this is a light coat of paint, nothing crazy. Because every time I've done Mod Podge, maybe I don't do it right, but it just peels when I peel the stencil, I feel like, once it like dries. So I don't know. This always works okay for me though. So I'm just gonna go over this whole stencil. And with this little like loose piece right here with the laces, just be careful that you're kind of gentle around it so it doesn't move around on you. All right, so you can see we have our one coat done. And even though it looks kind of like scratchy right now, the more coats we do, the more solid it will start to look. So I'm going to go over this again, another light coat of paint, and I'm just going to start from the top. And just kind of go all in the same motion here. And if you can hear the background, you are correct. I'm watching The Office. It's like my favorite thing to have on in the background besides like the Hallmark Channel when I'm doing crafting. Because I've seen every episode like a million times, so I can like completely tune it out, but it's just nice to have the background noise. Alright, so we have our second coat of paint. So you guessed it, we're going to go over it one more time. And honestly, you can go over this as many times as you like. I usually think three or so coats is usually good enough, but that's completely up to you. And I will not be sealing this because if it's like for indoor use, I really don't see a need to seal it. But if you do want to seal it with an outdoor sealer, I use, I'll link it below and I'll actually remember to link it this time. It starts with an H. I got it at Home Depot. It's like in a green can and it has a gold kind of yellow writing on it. I think it's like Heisman, something like that. But I'll link it. I won't forget, you guys, I promise. All right. So I did about 3.5 or so coats of paint on this. So now we still want to peel it while it's relatively wet. So I'm just going to start by taking a corner and just gently kind of pulling it up. And if there's parts of it that aren't coming up, like this right here, I'm just going to leave it and I will come back for it, because I found when I try to do too many things when I'm peeling a stencil, sometimes you can get paint where you don't want it. So I'm just going to kind of let it just kind of do its thing and just peel away. And just be careful if you have paint on your fingers like I do. You don't touch too much of it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my tweezers and I'm going to just start to get these middles out. Alright, so now I'm going to get these laces and be gentle. Alright, so there we have it. Alright, so there is our super cute little sign ready for the holidays. And you can see our lines are pretty dang crisp, and we did not use any Mod Podge. So if this was helpful to you, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, happy crafting and happy holidays.